I found
not 1 point. He got 2 points, but he got 1 quote. I got 1 quote.
I found. What quote did you choose? Well, I guess we'll get to it.
We'll get to it.
We'll
probably edit this part out where we're not listing scores and shit. But anyway, skipping greetings because you don't need that shit. Open a murder post. I'm EK. She's JD.
That would be nice because then I'd have 3 books out right now.
2. You only have 2 right now.
Did you? Oh, yeah, because you took down Division Street.
And Imperfect Lines. I'm currently reworking those and gave them all new cover art. But
how did it taste?
Like bologna. And a little bit of coffee. Good coffee, not Starbucks coffee. Not burnt dirt.
Burnt dirt. That's all it tastes like. That's all it tastes like. It's disgusting.
Anyway.
Did the introduction.
We did.
No clever
no
assignment to anyone.
If this was a recent read, if it didn't give time to sit and be forgotten, essentially, I would have a nice quip. I have a quippy thing for the rating because I wrote it down.
Oh, see, I didn't even write it down.
And I even did a quippy one for the book I hated. Fucking hated it. Anyway.
I can't wait to hear it.
We'll get to that later.
I can't wait to hear it.
Anyway, today we are going to be reviewing Manistique, the second book in the Luke Fisher, I guess, series.
Did you say reviewing or revealing?
Reviewing.
Okay.
No, we're revealing. Here it is.
Ta-da.
Bye.
This is all there is. Da-da-da-da.
Anyway, if you are new to the channel, which you probably are, because who watches this?
Well, none of our subscribers, because we haven't uploaded anything lately.
We recently, last year, we reviewed the first novel in the Luke Fisher series, Surf City Acid Drop, and we gave it a decent score. I believe mine was 87 or 83? 87. 87 with extra credit, 83 without it. 83 triple plays out of 100.
I did not write his total score down, so I don't remember, and I also can't do math in my head.
If you'd like to know what EK rated it, go to the video and give it a view.
Oh yeah, do that! That's a good idea.
You know, just, stroke our ego a little bit.
Well, no, just save me the
time.
No. It would take less time. It would take less time to watch for them to watch that video than it would take for me to do the math in my head.
That's true.
So just
wait, hold on. Wait. Watching, well, yeah, they could scrub to the end and see what you gave it. I'm like, it would take them longer than it would for you to do the math.
No, the full hour of that video would take less time than an hour. It would take me longer to do math in my. You get it. I can't do math in my head.
To the book at hand, Manistique. I'm going to let you start, because I have to burp.
Well, I mean, get it out of your system quickly, because what did you give plot?
Plot? Okay, so I went back and forth after reading this. I finally landed on a 7.
Okay, ditto.
Which I think was probably, a point down from SCAD. Point down. To me, it's not that it wasn't a bad plot by any means. Like it did do its function, but it just wasn't gripping me. I wasn't invested. I was just kind of like, okay, let's just kind of get through this.
I kept waiting for the reveal that Sam and Astrid, Jane. I kept waiting for the reveal that they were sisters. And it never came.
Mm.
So I don't know, I don't know if they are, but I strongly suspect that to be.
Yeah, it's a theory for sure, like bubbling. So it's like, and if it doesn't come to anything in the third one, why even sort of have that breadcrumb?
Well, I would have that, I would ask that question about a number of facets of this book. One of which we will get to later. As we dissect things and pick them apart. Like you, though, I wasn't particularly invested in the plot. Like, the most that I was invested in was finding out that they, at least getting a confirmation that they were sisters. And for a while, I forgot that, oh, what's his name? Leon,
yeah.
I forgot he was part of the story for a while, until he came back up.
Yeah.
Not that that's because he just appears for a bit in the beginning, and then you go off and do a thing, and then you finally reconnect with him towards the end. You're like, oh yeah.
That's how I also felt about Frank. Like, I'd forgotten about him until he came up again. It was like, because I had forgotten, once he's in Michigan, I'm like, how did he get here again? like at least with Scad, I never really forgot the motivation leading him all across the country, but this I was just like, what drove him here? I know it's Astrid / Jane, but and then he came up, I'm like, oh yeah, him. Okay.
Yeah,
That guy. Which will lead right into characters, given that we're talking about them. What did you give characters?
A 7.
I originally gave a 7, but then I reflect, because I'm kind of, I don't know if this is how we should do things, but it's how I did it. I kind of compared and contrasted between Surf City and this one, and it made the score go up from a 7 to an 8 as the final score.
See, looking at my, that's what I gave the last one.
Because I think characters in Surf City I gave a 6.
See, yeah, I gave him a 7 on plot and a 7 on characters both times.
Okay, but for characters, this one I gave an 8 only because it didn't feel like, at least to me, it didn't feel like there were characters that were just plot conveniences, that were obvious plot conveniences. Like, oh, what's that dude's name? He's the mob boss in PV. Benno. None of the characters felt like that, where it was just like, hi, I'm randomly in a place that I wouldn't know that you were here, but I showed up. I never got that feeling. So I was like, okay, nothing feels out of place. None of these characters feel like they're just existing out of nowhere.
Well, until the very end.
Until the very end, which is why it's dumped a bit instead of a 9 or a 10. But when it came to the comparison between this and Scat, I was like, it was a little better. The characters didn't seem so.
No, the characters were solid.
Yeah, and that'll go into something later. But their dialogue, between Sam and Fisher, and all the other Leon and everybody. And okay, Frank, I had issues with, but But their dialogue seemed more authentic than the first book. Didn't just seem like your typical detective story dialogue for the most part.
No, this one wasn't. This one was much more like SCAD was the detective story dialogue, and this one was the gangster revenge dialogue.
Yeah. What I had an issue with when it comes to Frank, whenever I read him, and no, not even just him, when I read him and his nephews, yeah, I always read them in Antonio Banderas' voice. Or, yeah, but like Antonio Banderas as Puss in Boots. Like, I was just like, I cannot. And it wasn't even like...
It was Franco. I meant Franco, not Leon.
Okay.
I don't know why I said Leon.
So we both had issues from... You couldn't even remember his name. It's not as bad as when... What review was it? Was it Eventide, where it's like, I have a note, and then you wrote the note and you were like, details. At least you didn't leave a note where I was like, what was that dude's name? And you just wrote him or that one guy.
Because you said Frank, like, I was, for whatever reason, I was thinking Leon. Was there a Leon in this?
I want to say, again, it's been a while. I want to say there was. Yeah, wait, I just saw Leon. Oh, that's Larry. Oops.
Was Leon?
I want to say there was a Leon. I want to say Leon was the shop owner.
What?
Wasn't he the shop owner?
What shop owner?
Okay, so... Oh, fuck, what was her name?
What shop?
One of the guys that EJ helped.
Oh, the fucking... Lou. No, not Lou. Fucking... The guitar guy.
Yeah, him. Wasn't that Leon?
No.
It's been a while since I've...
It's been a while. Sorry, Craig.
Sorry, Craig. We got busy. Life changes happened on my end, and I don't know what happened on EK's, but I'm pretty sure something came up.
Well, I didn't read it every day waiting for you to get your shit together long enough to do a review video.
I'm sorry that my life took...
I'm not upset. His name was Breeze.
There had to be a Leon.
Wasn't Leon in Surf City Acid Drop? Wasn't he the heroine?
That was the dude who died, wasn't it?
Yeah, the guy.
That's the reason why he couldn't stay in PV. We're getting our books mixed up. To be fair, it's the same author.
But
same
no,
series.
You said Franco Leroy.
Leroy, that's it.
You said Frank, and I was thinking Leroy, and instead of Franco, I was thinking because it's been a while. No.
Can we bring back Harold?
Sorry,
I missed Harold.
It's been a little while.
At least a month since we finished.
But
But yeah, I felt the characters were a lot more fleshed out in this one, so that's why I bumped him a bit. And the dialogue was less detective cliche. I mean, it had its own cliches in another genre of crime fiction, but it wasn't the gangster dialogue, so it was a step up for me in that regard. Now, when it comes to his style, are you still on characters?
What am I? What?
Are we still on characters, or did you want to move to style?
No, let's move on to style.
Style, I could read Craig all day. Like, even his tweets. His Substacks. I read them. 10 out of 10.
10.
There's not much to say that we haven't already said, like in Surf City, but like, his style is just so welcoming. Like, even though that was even different in tone than Surf City, it was a little more like bleak in some areas.
Yeah.
This still felt like a Terlson, so
No, it was great. It's enjoyable.
It was enjoyable. It was familiar, welcoming, like
It's like getting your favorite drink and going on the boardwalk.
yeah.
It really, like, it's just a good time. I have a great time. Every time I read Craig, I have a great time. Even if aspects of his plot
Yeah.
put a straw up my ass, I always enjoy at least hearing the story. As far as concept and execution,
I gave his concept a 4 out of 5. And then his execution was a 3.
I gave him 3 and 3. Because the revenge storyline, it's not that it's
not the most original, and also, well, you also have to put in the fact that it was like the money novel.
the money bit kept,
The money bit. Because, like, and I hate having to say this, because I hate Cormac McCarthy, but I've read this before with No Country for Old Men. not in terms of like the actual story itself, but like finding money, or money's a big part of the story.
The concept of it.
Yeah, the concept of it, and like this isn't really the most original, but it's something that I do enjoy. So I didn't dock it that much. The execution is where he fell a little flat. Middling. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, it could have been better, just in my opinion.
What would you say he could have improved in as far as execution goes?
There were, like, I guess I would say pacing. It just seemed to drag in some spots, and
Yes.
but yeah, I would just say it's pacing. Like, the pacing really bogged it down for me.
Yeah. It's basically a hunting story, and by necessity that's going to be, like, slow.
Yeah.
But I also felt like, to counteract that, and I guess this will go into structure too, to counteract those slow bits,
Uh-huh.
it would have been helpful for him to leave more seeds about what was going to happen at the end than I remember him doing.
There we go. All right. Speaking of structure, what did you give that?
A 7. I thought about going lower, but my one real objection was the way the ending just popped up suddenly.
Yeah.
So suddenly.
I gave it an 8, but I have the same issues. I'm probably just a little more lenient on it than you are.
Because it felt like it came out of nowhere. Like, everything was tied up really nice and neat. Everything was flowing together really, really well. And then fucking the whole bit with Wilco just popped up, like,
It was
out of nowhere.
And I want to say, I might be wrong, but I want to say Terlson is what people would consider a pantser when it comes to writing. So, like, in this instance, it's where the pantsing methodology can kind of maybe bite you in the ass, because it's like, yeah, when you're writing it, it may appear like, oh, it's out of left field, so it's exciting, but also it can kind of turn around on you and be like, well, that was out of nowhere. Where the fuck did that come from?
Well, there was, like, as far as anyone knows, there was no reason. Like, there was no reason for Phil to come back, as far as anyone was aware, because we were all very surprised by his invitation to the bar.
Yeah.
Now, there was, I forget who mentioned having a fight and running into Wilco. But like, you could have just left it at that.
Yeah, you could have.
That would have been a better, at least, seed for a different story. And that is kind of what it felt like he was doing. It felt like he was laying
the groundwork for the third book to be where Wilco's the big bad.
Well, no, because Wilco can't be the big bad. He's dead.
Well, no, man, like before he killed him.
Yeah. Well,
before we knew he died, I was like, okay, we're building him up kind of as this like nefarious sort of badass. So he'll be like sort of in the background for this book, and then maybe carried into the third one.
Well, he wasn't. Was he mentioned? When did you first see his name come up? Because I didn't see his name come up until way late.
It was way near the end. It was not near the end, like not the end, but like it was the later half of the book.
And to see him, like, to see him that late, and then for him to be the bigger bad than Struthers, who we've been anticipating, and then for him to die, like, it was too much in quick succession. It would have been, now, unless my theory, and it's just a theory because I haven't asked Craig about this, my theory is that he's setting up, like, there's going to be someone who is close to or bigger than or in some way dependent upon Wilco. So my suspicion is that with the stuff with Wilco, it went too fast, but I have a feeling it's going to be setting up for what's going on in 3.
Okay.
Or in the next one.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only way, because, like, Craig knows what he's doing. He knows how to put a story together, and he's proven that several times. So, I have to suspect that he's going to do something else with it, and there's just this one weird piece, like, right here at the end.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't fit very well. So that was why, and I said it before, but that's like why I wanted to see, or why I said it would have been nice to see some reference to Wilco even earlier back, like even just in passing.
Yeah.
Someone that, you know, and maybe he did and I missed it, but I don't think he did. So that's why, as far as execution and structure goes, that's why I graded them so low. If it hadn't been for the Wilco line, I probably would have given him
a higher score. Yeah.
8.5, maybe a 9.
Okay.
Now, how did you do on diction?
I gave him a 7.
Okay, I gave him a 9.
Okay.
I like the way
usually you're the harder one when it comes to diction.
I like the way he uses words. I really do.
Yeah.
I think I gave Eventide a really high one, too. No, I didn't. I gave it to somebody else. But
where did I put the notes for Eventide?
Craig has a way of just setting up his sentences so that they really do. It is like floating down the lazy lagoon.
Okay.
And it's nice. It's a relief. It's relaxing. Even in the really dark parts of the book, it's really just fun to be there in the middle of it.
Yeah.
And that is down to the way he uses his words. And the way he's established his tone. I'm sure you have a different opinion.
It's not that the wording was poor in any such way, but I was kind of viewing it from your perspective, how you usually grade diction, which was like, are they reaching for to use their full vocabulary, because like, and also getting to kind of know Craig a little bit more. It's like, I know he's capable of using bigger words, but then again, and this is why it's not scored any lower. This is Fisher we're talking about.
I was
It's
going
from
to say,
his perspective.
Craig can use bigger words. Luke can't.
Luke can't. This is making me actually grade something even lower on another book. Hold on 1 second.
It isn't Craig. You're not docking Craig.
No, it's not Craig. No, I'm not docking Craig. So, I mean, now that I think about it, if I think about it in terms of just Fisher talking, I'm gonna give diction a 9. Instead of it just being, Craig, I know you can use bigger words. I'm like, but man, it is Fisher we're talking about here.
Look at that.
All right. It is Fisher we're talking about. Actually, no, 9.5. 9.5 prediction.
But aren't you going to round up and just give him the whole 10?
No, we don't do that in terms of scoring. It's the overall score, and then adding it to how many stars would I give this on Amazon. You have to round up for that piece of shit because they only do 1 through 5. You can't do 1.5 or half a star. Can you do 0 stars and just leave a review? Like, this was shit.
No, you can't.
Just saying, like, if you don't like the book. Not that I would.
You can't leave 0 stars.
Damn
if you're gonna leave a review, you have to leave a star.
I mean, technically.
It's the dumbest system.
Technically, it would still get a star with the score, but yeah. Anyway.
That's why I won't review books I don't like.
Down to formatting. Gave it a 10.
I gave it a 10.
If
I remember correctly,
it did not offend the senses in any such way. It does its job in terms of appearing as a novel. It's
fantastic.
Unlike other things.
Yeah, compared to
and viewing it from like someone who does format books themselves, I can't see any means of improving.
No, it's wonderful. And I like his fonts.
Like
I like the fonts that he uses.
Yes, I am a fan of Baskerville. Which I will actually get into a point with another book because it uses the same font. Which is why I think I docked that one a little bit. In terms of... Yeah, I docked it 0.3 points. Not just because of font, there's another reason. I think I docked it 0.2 points for the font and then 0.1 point for another thing. Anyway, back to this book. Now, I looked once I finished, because this book did feel longer than SCAD. That's because technically it is. It is technically a longer book. What did you rate its length?
Length, I gave him an 8.
Gave him a 7.5. For the same thing with structure, it just seemed to drag, and even though it's only, I think it's under 300 pages, it felt like it was over 300 pages at times. I'm just like, when is this over? How far do I have to be?
Yeah, going back to structure and execution, it was just I did take points off of length just because I didn't like that bit with Wilco was in there. I didn't like it.
Yeah. And the final passages, I guess we could say, of the book too, just felt very, in my opinion, kind of dorky.
Yeah, maybe not. Well, oh, the bit where Sam goes to.
Yeah. I felt like that could have been, like, her inclusion could have just been left out, in my opinion.
The scene with her at the end. I get it. Now he has a girlfriend to visit, but I feel like she's also just using him to follow another lead that took her down Mexico way, which we may get to see in the third one.
Yeah. Like, it could have ended with that, like, just before saying I met her at the airport. It could have ended there, and I'd be like, I'd have been fine with it. Like, she flies in tomorrow. Then I wish you the best. Now enjoy Jimmy's fine food and this lovely evening. Like, it could have ended there, and I would have been fine.
Yeah, that would have been a good place to end it.
But
but no, it wasn't. That wasn't a big enough complaint for me, though. So I didn't take it into consideration.
But yeah. Anyway,
you're right. I agree with you. But anyway, what quotability?
you only got one quote out of me this time, so 2 points.
Yeah, I only got one out of me.
Oh, where? Just out of curiosity, and what was it?
The part where he's out jogging.
Mm-hmm.
He's out jogging and he sees the fox get hit by the car. So he goes over and he strangles it.
Okay. For me, and I think the reason it stuck out to me was it was like a perfect, almost summation of like the motivation behind the book. And it was, we were doing what situations like this always came down to, chasing money. A bag of it sat in the trunk of the Cordoba like a dead cat. What was it about money anyway? Why did everything end up there? What were you supposed to do with it anyway? How much crap could you buy? How much could you drink or snort up your nose? Those old westerns always had the guy who was going to pull one more big job and then hang it up, get a ranch in Butthole, Wyoming and raise llamas. But they never did. They always got shot, or screwed by someone else, or jailed, or all three. Like, that's a pretty good summation of what this book is.
I agree. No, the bit that the reason the bit with the fox stuck with me because I do wonder if it isn't a little foreshadowing of what's going to happen to Luke.
In the next one?
If not the next one, then later on down the road. But that's why that one stuck with me.
Okay.
So as far as satisfaction goes,
that got same as length, 7.5.
I gave it a 7.
Not a bad book, but I didn't
It's
didn't quite enjoy it as much as I did Surf City.
It's not a bad book at all. It's actually
No,
quite
it's not.
good.
It's not a bad book. It's well written.
It's just, see, my note for satisfaction is, what the fuck is going on with Wilco?
Yeah.
That it I shouldn't be so bitter about it, and I'm not bitter exactly. I'm kind of disappointed.
I will say this: while I didn't enjoy it to the degree that I enjoyed the first one, it still has me wanting the third one out.
Yes.
So I can like finally see if this amounts to anything.
Yes. Yeah,
And
same here. I really, really want to know. Like I do, I want him to put the third one out so I can read it.
yeah.
So I can find out if all my disappointment was for nothing.
Or if it was just him, or if it was just him laying the groundwork to get to something a little more. Like this is the foreplay for the third book, but it was it was getting to the point where it was like, okay, just stop and just fuck me.
Sometimes foreplay can be a little exasperating, and in this case, that's what it was.
Yeah.
But if it does turn out that this was just Lang's, I am much more willing to take it back.
It was like if the third one proves that this was leading to something, I will retroactively change a few things because I'm like, okay, that makes sense now. This makes sense. Blah 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 blah, and this will go up. But
yeah, absolutely. I'd be quite happy to reconsider and recalibrate that score.
Yeah.
And I understand if that's what he's doing. I understand why it would feel so choppy because it is kind of hard to lay groundwork when you can't just talk about what's there in your head.
Yeah.
That's why parts of How to Cure feel kind of off, because that's what I was doing.
And I will say this when it comes to the structure of this book to the previous one, and he did confirm with me, or even us, I think, that Surf City was written episodically. So like that explains why it felt episodic when we were reading it. This one felt a little more tied together, at least. Like it wasn't episodes.
Yeah, everything flowed together. Like it was a traceable cause effect.
Yeah,
connection, redirection. Like you could.
We didn't spend X amount of chapters in one place like PV.
No.
We were pretty much like hit the ground running.
Yeah. No, it was. But you could follow. Like you could trace where everything went back. Which, again, was why the Wilco thing was so fucking weird. I have to let it go. I really, really do. And I will try.
Let it go, Elsa. Let it go.
What did you say?
I said, let it go, Elsa. Let it go.
Yeah. But anyway, so your total score for Craig this round, what did you give him?
I gave him 76.5 UPs out of 100.
UPs?
UPs.
You're
Upper
trafficking people now?
Yeah. I'm attracting people. I killed a good, not just 24 and a half. No, 23 and a half. Killed 23 and a half UPs. Actually, no, you know what? Craig killed them.
He doesn't know what we're talking about. Now he's just going to be confused.
He wrote the book.
No, the 23 and a half.
Oh. He's fine. Just know, Craig, you did this. Just like parents who blame their children for the divorce. You did this.
Okay. Well, once again, I don't really have anything clever picked out or written down. So I guess I have 73 Out of 100, 73 out of 100. That's it. That's all I have. I'm not witty. I'm not charming. I'm not clever. It's just 73 out of 100.
It's fine.
But I enjoyed it though, so I gave it 9 points extra credit. So that means the total comes up to 82. In my defense,
I didn't do extra credit this time. Nothing stuck out to me in terms of
I just really
thinking back on things. I mean, I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it.
It's a book I would recommend, and if I'm gonna recommend it, I have to give it extra credit. A book that I would never recommend. I would.
I mean, I would recommend this book. I would recommend both books because you don't really have to read Surf City to get this one.
No.
That's what I will say about him is at least you can read Manistique and not be like confused at all because you might be like, well, who's Benno? But then again, you could also just say like, okay, it's just someone from Luke's past that we'll probably get to either later or he maybe was in the first book, but you don't need it. You don't need the context of the first book to understand this one. Well,
some bits would help.
Some bits, yes.
It's not necessary.
It's not so damning that. Yeah.
It's a self-contained piece. Like, you don't have to have read Arcadia to understand Regina.
No.
In False Cathedrals. And it's the same principle.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what?
Anyway, no, we'll get into that in between videos.
Okay. Do you want to add the other two onto this one and do a three, or do you want to just leave Craig with his own?
Leave Craig with his own.
Okay.
We don't need to tarnish him.
Okay.
However, if you liked this video, you can watch the other ones, and if you want to look forward to our future episode, we will be reviewing, and it'll be a two for one. We'll be reviewing The Garden of the Golden Children. I even forgot the name of the book, and I remember. Not gonna say the authors' names. We'll get to that in their actual video.
But yeah.
Also do the whole like, subscribe, comment thing. Insult us. Actually, insult us. Leave comments and insult us.
But actually leave comments and insult us. That isn't a trap that we're trying to spring on you, where if you leave it, we're gonna bitch and moan about it.
We're not gonna block you and then a year later be like,
I remember you. No, this isn't a trap.
This isn't a trap. If you want to, it's fine.
He'll laugh, especially if you make it about me.
Yeah. And even, hey, if it's about me, I'll smile the entire time. Because you want to know something? It took you time to write it out. I occupied your space for at least 3 minutes. 2.5 seconds, at least.
I'll get a kick out of it knowing that you've been as big a pain in someone else's ass as you have been in mine.
Probably more so.